Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Ringo TV Reactions. I'm your host, Ringo. We're back again with another video titled, I Failed as a Content Creator and Had to Get a Job. Let's listen at the tape. Let's react to this video. Let's go.
I had almost 90,000 subscribers on YouTube, but somehow I was still broke. The name of my channel, Future from Bruv. Around 2018, I made my first video with my friend named DeAndre. We was in college, sitting down, made a video. It was cool. I went to my bro's school and we did a video. I think it was questions girls have for guys. Video did like 100K views. We got a lot of traction, and then from there, we became the Bruvs. In my head, I'm like, yo, if we stay consistent, we're gonna win. This was the plan. Everybody was on board.
Looks like all of his videos is basically demonetized except for the one that's in the middle. That's 2149. So a lot of times people get a lot of traction, but that doesn't necessarily translate into resources.
I want to stop right there, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about this particular matter in a very professional way as a content creator. One of the first problems that I see with this video is that the guy that is reacting to the video is focusing on money in terms of the user, I guess, being demonetized. And to me, as a content creator, what makes you successful and what makes you stand out from the crowd is actually doing content because you love to do the content. And I think that that is the missing link with content creators in general, is that when they come to social media to be content creators, they're focusing on making money. Now, don't get me wrong. We need money to survive. We need money to pay our bills. It could be on our mind. It could be very stressful. I get all of that. A lot of times, what makes us fail is that we're primarily focusing on making money and we're not focusing on creativity. Let's go.
We was doing it. It was popping. We was flying out. We was going on vacation. We was doing things, but we was making money. It was going well. And then people move, consistency stopped, and life hit. Subscribers don't pay the bills. I was doing Instacart and DoorDash in between us doing videos just to make some extra money. I also was selling merch. I didn't have the best money management at the time. It didn't work how it was supposed to work. I had a kid. The money wasn't coming in quick enough. I couldn't really be the best that I wanted to be. My girlfriend was telling me to get a job. I'm not trying to get a job. I thought getting a job was meaning I quit, so I didn't want to get a job. I was like, yo, how am I gonna do this? One day I was doing Instacart and it was really slow. On the phone, my guy Big, he just got a job at Facts at the time. He was telling me like, yo, bro, I think you should get a job. Like, you could always still be a content creator, but you need money. I started applying for jobs. Getting rejected, nobody hit me back. Big sent me a link to Amazon. I applied, got the job. If you have a dream or a goal, a job doesn't really stop your goal. Job is to help you, it doesn't hinder you. Ever since I got a job, I've been more stable. Life has been better. I've been able to pay my bills on time. I've been able to help the mother of my child more, help my son more. So having a job has stability that I didn't have before. If you have a dream or a goal, a job doesn't mean you quit. A job just means you chose another route.
I actually really like this video because it shows you the tell between what people think and what is the reality. The reality is that most content creators are not generating enough revenue, regardless of what their subscribers are, to actually be able to sustain themselves on that alone.
I disagree. I think that this particular gentleman here is not really giving people the truth. I think he's speaking from a personal point of view in terms of his own personal success. And what he's doing is he's looking at everyone else as a whole as if though it's impossible for you to do. Number one, the guy in question, if you listen to his story, he talked about how, you know, he had 90K subscribers, you know, they were getting a ton of views, and he was collaborating with other men in whom made the platform. So when you think about that, guys, he talked about how his friends moved on. In other words, these guys moved on, this one moved on, somebody probably started a family, somebody probably moved to another state, and they couldn't do the content the way they did before, meaning he lost the leverage that he had with the collaborative efforts with other people. And that is what made the platform collapse in terms of views and everything else. It's not because the guy had a child or any of that type of stuff. The problem is he started a platform with other entities. It's like starting an R&B group. You come in it together. Once everybody leave and it's just you start to learn that maybe you are not the one that had the talent. It could have been someone else within the group that made the viewers watch. The user that is reacting to his video apparently is not talking about the real issues. And the real issues may be that said individual don't really understand how to produce original content to keep people coming back for more. Instead, he's focusing on trying to paint a negative, a negative story that as a content creator that you're not going to be able to sustain yourself on social media, that you need to go back and get a job, which is kind of crazy because he's a content creator. So why would he be encouraging people to go get a job if the guy's goal is to be a content creator? I don't care what anybody say, guys. When it comes to you having a goal, when it comes to you having a vision and a dream, you have to go after that goal with everything you got. You cannot just turn back and just say, you know what, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to quit. There's no time. You don't have no time, guys. Life is very, very short. And what you need to be around is people that's going to encourage you to pursue your goal. I'm not saying not to have a job, because I've been one that's been very vocal about how a job is what finances your plan. Well, when a job already done finance your plan and you have all the tools and you have everything needed to do the job, it's time for you to go hard in the paint and do the job. And if you're not going to do it, then it don't make no sense you even get involved. Let's go.
I've seen people jump on these platforms and say, hey, man, I got laid off, but I'm a content creator on TikTok or Instagram, and so I'm about to go into that full time. And then I've also seen people go into long form content on YouTube, which in my opinion is it's the hardest, and it's much more difficult because you have to actually do something that keeps people's attention much longer.
Well, keeping people attention is not necessarily difficult. It's basically understanding your niche and understanding what people that are viewing you are looking for. In other words, you might be a content creator and you produce videos, and certain videos got a lot of traction, a lot of views. And then what happened is you pivoted over into other types of content, which confuses the algorithm, because the AI on social media, doesn't matter what platform you're on, is trying to figure out what kind of content creator you are, what kind of people you're trying to reach, who's your audience. And when you switch your content up, it confuses the algorithm, and the algorithm don't know who to direct these videos to because you keep changing. Once you give the algorithm a certain consistency of content and it's pretty much similar in design and the framework of the content is similar, then what happens is the algorithm begins to understand who needs to see your videos. But if you're constantly switching, it's confusing the system. You have to understand that your consistency in doing content have to be the focal point of the platform. You cannot be focusing on money. If money is on your mind more than value and producing something that will cause viewers to come back and watch, if you're not focusing on the viewer, understanding what the viewer is looking for, understanding what entertainment mean, understand what engagement mean, if you're not focusing on none of these key points and the only thing you're thinking about is making money, you're going to fail as a content creator no matter how it is. Some content creators might break through the algorithm early, some might have good luck, some might have some easy success, and then some, it might take you forever. But at the same time, I think that those of you that go through the struggle and it takes you a longer time to get there, you're going to actually have sustainable success because you've been through so much struggling, you know exactly what to do. You understand that? And you'll be able to teach other people. I don't think that this individual is actually teaching anything at this point. I think that he's just given an opinion because in his world, he already achieved a certain amount of success. And he's not trying to understand the magnitude of the problem that is affecting this young man, because it's not that the young man don't have talent. The problem is he came into YouTube collaborating with other men. And what that did, it gave an image of what people were expecting. People were expecting to see him. They were expecting to see his friends. They were expecting to see him have his colleagues with him on the podcast, on the show, to travel around. Maybe it was entertaining. But when everybody left, the momentum of the show died down. That has nothing to do with, money. It has nothing to do with, I don't know what's going to come next. It's just the fact that he started the platform off with other people. And that right there is one of the biggest problems. It's best to start a platform on your own, do your own thing, build your own audience so that they're loyal to you and they understand what you bring to the table individually. But if you brought other guys in with you and the viewer enjoy watching them, and you're sort of like a background singer, it's not that they don't like to see you, it's just that you're not the main character that they came to see. When we go to watch a Denzel movie, we want to see Denzel. Yeah, we appreciate all the other cast members and all the other stars, but we come there to see Denzel. Maybe that young man wasn't Denzel. Let's go.
Versus the microwave stuff that allows for you to build easy platforms on TikTok and things like that. I've seen people do longer form content and they failed miserably. But here's the biggest thing. It's nothing wrong with getting a job. And more importantly, I would tell people to get a job until your dreams completely take off.
See, that's where I would disagree. Now, the reason why I disagree is because this particular content creator focused so much on money that he don't necessarily encourage people to get jobs. He actually focused more on social media, and he's more likely the type of person that would look down on somebody that actually have a job. Being a content creator, we're constantly bombarded by people that keep saying, you need to get a real job. In other words, they look at content creation, as if though it's not technically a job, when actually it is a job. It is a business. And when you're in business in social media, you are your own boss, and you got to be putting out content all the time. And this is something a lot of people don't understand about social media, is that you're in control. You got to keep on keeping on. You got to keep coming on camera. You got to keep putting out videos. You got to be consistent. You got to do this. You got to do your thumbnails. You got to do your edits. You got to fix your channel description. You got to understand the market. You got to find out what's trending. There's so many different things you got to be doing at one time, and especially if you're doing everything by yourself. But he's focusing on, I think you should go get a job until you're able to do this and that. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to your goals, when it comes to social media, if your goal is social media, you got to understand what I'm saying. If your goal is to be a social media influencer or content creator, whatever the case is, if you're not pursuing that with everything you got, you will never become a social media content creator. It will never happen. You know why? Because you're not being persistent. If you go back to the 9 to 5, you're never going to be successful at what you're doing. It sounds good by him saying there's nothing wrong with getting a job. Of course, there is nothing wrong with getting a job, but I'm here to tell you, you cannot have both, guys. You cannot have both. I'm not saying you can't do videos and the 9 to 5. You could. But when it comes to social media, it is something that you have to do full time to really push through, to really get the maximum effect and the maximum impact. You got to be on social media all the time, dedicating your entire life. If you're dedicated to your job and you're dedicated to social media, it's like one foot is here and one foot is there. You're never going to be able to get the benefits of either world. Yes, you have security with the job. Yes, you might have health benefits. Yes, you might have a pension. You might have this. You might have that. But I guarantee you, you're never going to be successful on social media the way you really want to. Let's go.
My rule of thumb is this, and make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
That's a problem. Notice what he said, ladies and gentlemen. He said, go to a Patreon. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to social media influencers, if they're not giving you the information that you need to turn them off. And the reason being is he's trying to direct you to another platform with the hopes of going behind a paywall to say, well, if you want this information, you need to go to Patreon and then you'll be able to get what you need to get. No. I'm a content creator and I believe in giving people information. I'm not going to tell you to go to Patreon in order to get something that I could give you right now. If I'm doing that, that means I'm just trying to make money off of you. And this is the problem. A lot of content creators really don't have a love for the content. They don't have love for social media. The individual that is reacting to his video, all he's doing is reacting to the video. That's all he's doing, guys. So what exactly could he tell you on Patreon that you can't just look and see what he's doing right there? It doesn't make any sense. All you got to do is look at what the content creator is doing, look at his style, look at what he's talking about, and when you see it, you'll see the strategy. So what is there to pay for or seek on a Patreon, guys? It's unnecessary. It doesn't make any sense. And I feel that the only reason why the guy is saying that is because I believe that he's hoping that the young man that is actually he's reacting to would one day see his video and possibly go register to Patreon in order to get some sort of support. But one thing you must never do, guys, never join a Patreon or any sort of site where somebody is telling you that they got information for you and you need to pay for it. Never do that. It's normally them just trying to make money off of you. And in the process, you're going to put money in their pocket and you never had any results. This is not for everybody, guys. Social media is not for everybody. Some of you are supposed to be on the 9 to 5. Some of you are supposed to be the carpenter. Some of you supposed to be the trucker. Some of you supposed to be the fireman, this guy, that woman, that guy. You're supposed to be on the 9 to 5. Everybody cannot be on social media. If everybody was on social media, who's going to watch who? But that's the problem. We all want to be social media influencers, and it takes a different kind of person to do this type of job, guys. It's not for everyone. Even the gentleman that said he had some success and he had views, 90K subs, and all this other stuff, I don't know what he's doing today. I haven't checked. But at the end of the day, think about what I'm saying, guys. If you are truly built for this, you will last the test of time. I've been on YouTube since 2006 till now, 2026. Think about how many years that is, guys. Let's get back to the content. Let's go.
My rule of thumb is this, is that you have to get a job to fund your dreams.
I've been teaching that for years, and I believe that the gentleman has taken my talking points because I've been telling people for many years that your job is what funds your operation. But here's the catch. He already did this. He already done that. He's leaving social media to go back to the 9 to 5 job. That right there is a step back. That is not a step forward. The best thing he could do is stay on social media, get the job, and pretty much do that while he's doing social media and balance it out until he's able to pretty much earn a living through social media where he can quit what he's doing with the job. Because I'm telling you, doing a job and trying to do social media at the same time, guys, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to have to choose one or the other, guys, because again, job security is not necessarily job security. You should know this by now, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a job today and tomorrow that job is gone. You should all know this. You're a number. You can be replaced, just like on social media. You don't own your platform. YouTube can take you out at any given time. Nobody knows the day or the hour. We just hope for the best. The whole point is, if your life goal is to be a social media influencer and it's something you've been working towards your whole entire life, why would you go back to a 9 to 5? It don't make no sense, guys. It's either you do this or you don't. Make your choice.
It helps you to maintain your lifestyle. It also allows for your dreams to get funded. And it allows for you to generate enough revenue to be able to take care of yourself and to take care of your family.
I believe that he's gaslighting the viewers because, yes, we know that having a job will help you to take care of your family. We know that a job will help you to fund your operation. But let's be practical, guys. If I am at a 9 to 5 and I got to get up every day to go to work and I'm there for 8 to 14 hours a day, I'm not going to feel like coming home to do YouTube. I see a lot of YouTubers that are pretty much trying to do YouTube while at a job. And literally, it is tough. A lot of times when you come home from work, you're tired. You can't even get the camera going. You end up falling asleep. You end up doing all sorts of stuff. It is not practical, guys. Yes, you can still do videos while working at a 9 to 5, but it's never going to become a reality of you doing it full time. It will always be a part-time effort. And I believe that this guy knows that. But again, he have to appeal to the viewer by focusing on the job. Now, keep in mind, guys, there has never been a time in history where 9 to 5 workers are bashing another man for getting a job. Nobody does that. The only time on social media I ever hear people talking about a 9 to 5 job is where the viewer will bash and harass the content creator by saying, you need to go get a real job. Meaning, him being on social media, he's going to more or less get hit with the backlash of people telling him to go get a real job because in their mind, he's just on YouTube all day. They don't see that as work. They don't see that as sustainable. And they don't understand that even if you have a 9 to 5 job, that's not sustainable. That can go at any given minute too. For some reason, people be believing that if they have a job, it lasts forever. Jobs don't last forever, guys. I had a great career when I was in New York, a great job, guys, and they took it away from me because I didn't want to take that shot during the pandemic. I worked for that job. I went to school. I had all sorts of graduations, certificates. I'm certified in all different types of areas, guys, all sorts of skill trades, training. I'm very good at the job that I was doing, but it was taken away from me, guys. It was not sustainable. It was not guaranteed. And I was a part of a union that was supposed to protect me. And they took everything away from me, guys. So think about that. You could be there at that job and they could take that away from you too. Just like you could be on social media and somebody can take that away from you too. The whole point is not worrying about taking something away. The point is, do you have the love to do content, even if you weren't getting paid for it? Do you have that love? Do you have that drive? Too many people want to come on social media, not because they want to do content, but because they're seeing a way to make money. That is never going to last long, and it's not going to be sustainable, because guess what's going to happen? There's going to come a time when you're going to run out of content, you're going to run out of energy, and you're going to fall to the wayside. Why? Because you've been chasing money. And this particular gentleman on the screen, all he focused on is chasing money. He's not chasing content. Let's go.
It's nothing wrong with getting a job. Everybody tries to make it seem like, oh man, just because you got visibility or you have some semi-famous whatever, so on and so forth. I know people that got 1 million followers or 1 million, on Instagram, and they don't make no money from that.
Now, think about what he just did. He said he knows people that got 1 million followers on Instagram, possibly YouTube and so forth, and they don't make no money from the internet. Again, his focus is money. His focus is not longevity. His focus is not content creation. Too many content creators don't even have they don't even have the talent, guys. Everybody's calling themselves content creators, but they're not even creating content. That's the thing that's so crazy about this. And you, the viewer, you know this. A lot of content creators call themselves content creators, but where is the actual content? They're not creating anything, guys. They're not. Most of them have no talent. Most of them have no ambition. It's just a hustle to get a buck. And then when their time is up, when they had their run, they throw in the towel and then they complain about, nobody was there for me and all that other mumbo jumbo. Let's go.
Popularity don't always translate into a job. Then you got to figure out how to monetize. And I talk about that in the Patreon extensively about.
Again, he just said he talks about this extensively in the Patreon. Guys, be very careful of people that are trying to lead you from social media on YouTube to try to direct you to a Patreon in order for you to pay for something. Don't do that. If you want to be successful on social media, get a camera, have a plan, and work. That's all you got to do, guys. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, you'll learn, because everything will flop. It's just that simple. Let's go.
How to generate the most revenue possible. But my point is just that it's nothing wrong with having a job. And now we've gotten to the point to where people have demonized actually getting a real life job.
Nobody has ever demonized anybody for getting a real life job. If anything, people have demonized content creators for being influencers by telling us we need to get a real job. The thing that I've heard the most, ladies and gentlemen, on social media every single day is, you need to get a real job. Like, let's say if I'm going through something financially, let's say if I'm going through a struggle, let's say if I'm having a hard time, the first thing people want to tell me is, you need to get a real job. Not because I need to get a job, but because they don't want me to do what I love. They want me to be where they are. Just because you have a 9-to-5 job, just because you're stuck somewhere where you're never going to go any higher, you want me to join you? You want me to be there with you? No. I got plans. I got things that I want to do. But in society, everybody wants to follow the next man. Everybody want everybody to be where they are. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not you. If you choose to just work at a 9-to-5 where all you get paid is this amount of money and that's all you're going to ever get paid, why do I need to do the same thing you do? When I got ambitious and I got goals. So what he's saying here, guys, is totally off and totally wrong. Its influencers have been bombarded by comments from viewers telling them, you need to get a real job. I've always heard that, where they try to discourage you from being an influencer. They try to discourage you from being a content creator so you could go back to the workforce and be at a 9-to-5 and never fulfill your call. You have a lot of people with jobs that never, ever was able to fulfill their calling. Ever. They've been stuck at that job for the rest of their lives. Do you know how many people work at a 9-to-5 and hate their job? Do you know how many people got a job and boast about having a job, but they hate their job? They don't love their job. If you ask the average person, do you love your job? They do not love their job. They hate their job, and their job is not paying them enough money to even survive. Let's get back to the tapes. Let's go.
They have made it to seem like, getting a job is it means you failed or whatever. And I'm trying to figure out, when did becoming an employed person, regardless of how you get your money, whether you got a job or you generate revenue or, you do whatever it is that you do on a regular basis, When did that become an issue? When did we get to the point to where, hey, we start downing people for working and doing an honest thing and making an honest living?
First of all, again, ladies and gentlemen, you have to pay attention to what I'm talking about and don't allow the gaslighting from the user to get to you. He would never go to work at a 9 to 5. You cannot pay that guy to quit YouTube to go work at a 9 to 5, because once you taste and see what you can gain from social media, you will never go back to a 9 to 5. And this is why I keep saying he's gaslighting the viewers by saying this. Again, it sounds good, but the thing is, nobody's demonizing anybody for having a job. I encourage people to have jobs, but don't try to be something that you're not. Don't try to be like me because I'm on YouTube. Don't try to be like me because I'm an influencer. Don't try to be like me because I got a studio. If it's not for you, it's not for you. A lot of people keep trying to be like other people, and then when they try and they fail, then they blame it on social media and be like, oh yeah, I ain't with all that social media stuff. That stuff don't work. You can't really make no money. And they get mad because it didn't work for them. Anytime something don't work for somebody, they complain about it. But what he's doing is he's gaslighting the viewers. He don't want you guys to ever tap into social media, because guess what? If you tap into that, you become his competition. You become somebody that he's going to see as someone he can compete against. And he want you at the 9 to 5 so that when you make money on the 9 to 5, you can sign up to his Patreon. You can send the Cash Apps. You can send the Venmos, and you can support him. That's what he's really looking for. Let's go.
Never understood that. That never made sense to me whatsoever. But we live in an era and a time where people think just because you're social media famous, that somehow, some way, because content creators are the way, but there's so many more out there. And, you talking about brand deals, you're talking about all of these different things. Most people, 98, 99% of people don't make enough money to be able to not go to work every.
That's a lie. Again, never listen to somebody that's telling you what people are unable to make. He's telling you lies, guys. He's telling you lies. There are many content creators that are doing content creation full time. He's a full-time content creator, and he hires people. He don't even work, guys. This particular user do not even work on YouTube, guys. Somebody else cut the videos. Somebody else do the thumbnails. Somebody else do this. He's not the one doing anything, guys. So it's easy for him to talk like this. And see, when I speak about these situations, I have more passion for the subject, because I understand what it's like to really do content. I understand the struggle. I understand what people got to go through. And I think that that's why my words resonate with the viewers even more, because it's more genuine. I understand the importance of having a 9 to 5. I worked at a 9 to 5. I know what it's like to take care of a family. I got all sorts of different responsibilities and things that I got to do. And I encourage everybody to always have a job. At the same time, if you're trying to be on social media, it's never going to work at the same time. You're not going to have the time. The time will not be there for you to be actively on social media, building a platform and sustaining income. It's just never going to happen, because it's like you're going to have to choose your job over social media every single time, because the job is going to make more money. Whichever is making you more money is more likely what you're going to be committed to the most. It's just that simple. And if you leave social media and you leave your goal to go back to the 9 to 5, you could forget about ever reaching your goal.
Day. You know what I'm saying? So when you start to think about that, when you start to really put that in perspective, if everybody is working and the very people that are saying that, oh man, I can't believe you got a job, how does that make sense? So I salute him, because he put away childish things, and it doesn't mean that his dreams don't continue.
I don't know why is he quoting scriptures, because he said the guy put away childish things. Childish things would translate to social media, meaning that because he was on YouTube, he put away childish things. There's nothing childish about being on social media. And I think that's the wrong frame of words. He used an actual Bible scripture about putting away childish things and pressing towards the mark of God. In other words, I once thought like a child, act like a child, but when I became a man, I focused on, the high calling of God. That scripture don't apply in this particular situation here. What you got to look at is this. If he pursue going back to the 9 to 5, he got to recognize that at that point, the goal of his social media platform and everything else falls with it. Not saying that he won't be able to provide for his family. He could. But the whole thing is, the goal is to make money through social media so you don't have to be at the 9 to 5. You can spend more time with your family. And I do not see this man encouraging this young brother to actually do that. Instead, he's encouraging him to go back to something that he already know he wouldn't even do himself. This particular YouTuber would not go back to the 9 to 5 guys to punch a clock or work for anyone ever. But he's willing to tell you to go do it. That don't make sense. Let's go.
I think that one of the biggest problems with people is that they don't put themselves on a schedule. They're not consistent. And so just because you get subscribers don't mean that they're going to stick around, because if you are not putting out good content consistently, especially on YouTube, then people are going to check out and the algorithm is not going to be checking for you and you're going to fall off.
See, again, the whole idea of fall off shouldn't even be in your mind. If this man paid attention to the story, the guy never said anything about falling off. The problem was he was collaborating with other people and they decided to go their separate ways. Once that happened, the channel is going to collapse. This particular YouTuber has a platform where he collaborates with other YouTubers and they're all on the panel. If all of those YouTubers decide to leave the show and he's the only one on the panel talking by himself, the show would flop and nobody would be there, because why? There are no other voices. So normally when you start a platform with other individuals, the success rate of that platform is going to determine based upon the amount of individuals that is on the show. And most of the time when people view your show, they got favorites. They might like the woman. They might like that brother with the flat top. They might like the other brother that is Jamaican. Everybody brings a certain chemistry and talent to the show that makes it valuable. So in his case, once his buddies left and went on with their lives, that's when the show began to fall. It has nothing to do with the subscriber count. It have nothing to do with anything else. The whole focus is content. The only reason why the channel fell is because the content was not being produced anymore. So the solution is not, oh, you need to go get a job. The solution is, how can I maximize profits in terms of producing content solo by myself and can keep the attention of the viewer watching me? How can I protect the platform by producing content that would keep all those viewers that was watching us? How can I keep them watching me by myself? That would be the solution. But I don't hear him giving that young man that solution. Instead, he's encouraging him going back to a 9 to 5 to the point where he would have no time to focus on social media. Let's go.
And so one of the biggest keys to success is being successful consistently. And that is how you build a following. That is how people trust your voice. That's how people trust your judgment.
He's speaking of himself at this point, because what he should be doing is telling the young man to be consistent so that the people can trust you, so that the algorithm can favor you. And the only way you can do that is if you're working. The social media algorithm, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, wherever you go, is based on the consistency of you putting up quality content. Not you worrying about how much money I can make, but the fact that you're putting up content that people actually want to watch. If you're focusing on that and you're diligent about that, and social media becomes everything in your mind, you eat, sleep, drink social media. That's all that's on your mind. Your thumbnails, you're taking care of that. Your video titles, you're taking care of that. Everything you're covering, all bases. If you make your mind up to do that consistently every single day, you will be rewarded. How come he's not telling the young man that?
Because they actually rock out with you, or they want to hear what you got to say. I think that this brother is doing incredible.
I don't think that he's really believing what he's saying. He don't really believe that the brother's doing anything incredible. It's nothing incredible if you are a man and your goal is to be on social media and that's your dream. And then you're encouraging him to go back to the 9 to 5. No, you should be encouraging him on what to do to sustain the platform growth that he already have. Because if he go back to the 9 to 5 in order to make ends meet, that's cool. But you're supposed to be encouraging this young man to stay on social media and to be working towards doing something solo that separates him from the idea of being with those other guys that caused the success. In other words, whatever allowed your channel to grow, if you had 4 other guys with you, you're going to have to learn how to pivot over into something that is dope, that your viewers that subscribe to you would still want to watch. That is what he's supposed to be telling the young man. I haven't heard it yet. I haven't heard him give that man no encouragement. And what I'm feeling is he only did that reaction video in order to try to reach the guy so that the guy can go subscribe to a Patreon page. Because remember, That YouTuber makes money off of that video when he reacts to it. So he's basically reacting to that man's downfall. I mean, he even put the title, "I failed as a content creator and had to get a job. Man works at Amazon after getting 90,000 subscribers." So when you think about the title of the video, "I failed as a content creator and had to get a job. Man works at Amazon after getting 90,000 subs." That's a slap to the man's face, because what you're basically saying is that he's working at Amazon, but yet he got 90,000 subs and he's not utilizing those subscribers, turning that into income. That's basically what he's saying. So he's looking down on him, guys. This is not a man giving another man encouragement. Let's go.
I'm saying, hopefully he's continuing his YouTube journey.
How could he? You're encouraging him to get a job. How could he encourage his YouTube journey if you're not pushing him towards that direction? Instead, you're pushing him towards the direction of going to your Patreon. Let's go.
There was a lot of people that popped off 2018, 19, 20, 21, 20.
That was the pandemic. The only one that popped off was Kevin Samuels. He was the one that popped off. Everybody else was pretty much stuck, even during the pandemic. And a lot of people began to grow after Kevin Samuels died. Let's go.
Too. Like, those years were the years where it's like, wait a minute, this thing is a movement. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the only reason why those years were very interesting is because the majority of people were home. People were not locked up at their job. People were locked up at home during the pandemic. So more content creators were able to grow and have visibility because more people was home. They had nothing to do, so they were on the internet all day. And that is how certain platforms were discovered.
Social media really is a thing. You need to really pay attention to it. I've seen people fall off after that because, you know, once everybody not being home and the build up to it, and then you had the pandemic and then everybody, you know, being home or whatever, it didn't translate further into, you know, just being regular or whatever like that. And so that's how you go about doing stuff. That's how you go about figuring out life. That's how you go about getting your stripes. You know, it's not about if you have to take a step back. It's about if you can endure through it, you know? And so if you are on a social media journey or you're trying to figure it out, first of all, you got to figure out if you even got motion. Like, some people are just not good at it.
Well, that's my point. Some people are just not good at it. Well, that's the key. Is he built for social media? Because if he's not built for social media, he's wasting his time. Again, I didn't check out this dude's platform, so I don't know exactly what he's doing. Because I'm going to tell you straight up, if your platform flopped and it just fell apart and you're not monetized, you're demonetized, and money is not coming in, and the only reason why you were getting any traction was because of the people you were connected to, then maybe you don't even have no talent. Maybe it's not meant for you and you're meant to be at a job. It's just that simple, guys. Social media is not for everybody. That's the thing that he's supposed to tell that young man, or at least give some sort of advice that can give him some sort of light. Let's go.
And there's plenty of things that people are not good at. You just can't do. I know people that ain't good at sales that wanted to get into medical sales. I know people that, you know, they just wasn't good at, you know, leadership or being a leader or being able to communicate and convince people that they should do something that they already didn't have within their repertoire.
And basically what he's doing here is patting himself on the back by assuming that he's that guy. He's the guy that's good at everything, and you're not. And it's typical of what most people do is they try to make themselves out to be the guy that's good, the guy that got it all together because of whatever success they're able to get. There's a lot of people that are good at what they do, and they just haven't had the big break that they needed. There's a lot of people that are very talented. There's a lot of talented musicians, singers, artists, rappers, you name it. There's a lot of people out here with talent, guys. A lot of people that are clothing designers that don't have their big break. They got the talent, they got this, they just don't have the resources to get the business popping.
And so, you know, that was difficult for them. And so, you know, sometimes you can get over it, sometimes you can't. And other times you just got to pivot. But if you are good at this thing and you do have motion and you're trying to figure out how to do it, don't be ashamed of going to get a regular job to be able to sustain yourself while you're building this thing, while you're trying to figure it out, while you're trying to make it make sense for you.
The problem here, ladies and gentlemen, is not about don't feel a way of having to go get a job. You should have already had a job. That's the problem. You should have already had a job working and building in terms of buying the tools necessary to put you in a position to focus on social media. If you haven't done that, it don't make no sense. See, if you're one of them type of people that listen to content creators that tell you go quit your job and just jump on YouTube and be like me, you're going to be broke. You're going to struggle. You're going to be homeless. Because the way you do it is you would have to, first of all, have the tools, cameras, equipment, this, that, all of these different things. 3 to 6 months worth of rent, money saved, car note covered, everything saved up. You would have to have something saved up, guys. Something that could sustain you during the time in which you're getting things popping. And then you go in hard to the paint, trying to build and do what you got to do. And you just got to put the work in. In this business, what I've learned over the years, guys, is you got to stay consistently working, and you can't stop working. It got to be something that you just keep doing. Even if you're tired, even if you're hungry, doesn't matter what it is. You got to be literally addicted to social media to the point where that's all that matters. And you're not going to stop till you get your break. That is what he's supposed to be telling that young man, guys.
I've worked multiple different jobs.
Everybody worked multiple different jobs. That's not the case. The point that we're supposed to be making here is how can we help the young man to give him the encouragement, the tools, and everything that is needed so he could get his tail back on YouTube doing what he loved to do. Because here's the thing, guys. If you're not doing what you love to do, you're going to be a miserable individual. You can be at the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 could be sustaining your life, sustaining your family, but you're miserable. You're not happy. You're unhappy. You're spending more time away from your children. Think about how much time you spend away from your children when you're at your job. Wouldn't you want an easier life where you're able to have more free time, make a certain amount of money, and able to sustain yourself? That should always be the goal. The goal should never be putting yourself in a situation where you're stuck and you're constantly working and working and working, and you're not around your kids and you're not around your family, and you're growing old and you don't got no savings because your job only pays you enough to get to next week. That is not living, guys. You're just existing at that point. You're not living your life.
All throughout my journey, even when I retired in 2019, and then I came back to working a regular job because I had got an offer that was crazy. I'm not leaving no money.
See, here's the problem. He's talking about himself. I don't like when people begin to talk about themselves and their own personal success. The topic should be about him talking about the young man, how he can help the young man. Nobody cares about you talking about yourself. Nobody cares about when you retired. Nobody cares about none of that stuff. What can you do to improve the community? And I think that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of content creators, especially those that are able to get any sort of success through social media, is that they focus on themselves, they focus on their money, and they don't focus on giving anybody any sort of guidance, any sort of inspiration. And it's just all about them, and what they can gain out of you. That's why he keeps telling people to go to a Patreon rather than telling people what they need to know so that they can get out there and get to work. Let's go.
On the table just because everybody else think it makes sense. Once my journey in this thing superseded what I was doing outside of it, then that's when it told me that I'm supposed to leave alone what it is that I had going out there. Because, I wasn't willing to forego what I was generating for what I was making outside of it, even if it was that good, because I would be losing too much money. So
that is not how you're going to be successful, guys. Listen, it would be great if you're able to earn on social media what you make at your 9 to 5 so you can leave. You got to know what is best for you. You cannot just listen to some person give you some sort of advice and the advice don't work for you. You got to know what is stressing you out. If your job is stressing you out and it's causing you a lot of pain, a lot of heartache and misery, and you feel like you're literally having a breakdown and you need time to yourself and you need time to be with your family, then you need to leave that job. But don't leave the job until you're able to build something up, that you're able to get finances and make money. But one thing I got to tell you, and I got to keep stressing this, is when it comes to social media and it comes to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever sites you're on, TikTok, Instagram, whatever sites you're on, it requires work, guys. You have to work. You have to do content, and you got to do this all the time. You can't take no days off unless you're making millions of views. If you're not making millions of views, you have no days off. Some content creators are able to break through the algorithm, and they're able to make a bunch of money with one video. They could take a week off because they got 2 million views. That translates to a lot of money when it comes to AdSense, sponsorship deals, and everything else. But if you're not getting those kind of views, guys, you have to be on social media all the time, putting in work, grinding, and producing your products and your services and everything else. And then you have to branch off into other things because, again, it's all about building an audience. You have to have the love for it, guys. If you don't have the love for producing content, none of this stuff is going to work. You're going to experience burnout.
It just tells you, what you do online or what you do for a living will tell you when it's time to move along, get in a different space, operate differently, whatever it is that you got to do.
No. Guys, if you don't take the leap of faith, nothing will happen. Do you understand me? When I was working on a 9 to 5, guys, I loved the job that I was at. I could go to the job and I could work for free. That's how much I love the job, guys. I enjoyed getting up in the morning and go to work. When I was in New York, I loved to do the job that I was at. I had a good career. It was paying very good money, guys. And I never was interested in pretty much leaving the job until there was a time when I just felt like I got to choose. I got to choose between social media and the job. Now, keep in mind, I was going to take a test so I could be a supervisor. My partners, he's a supervisor now at the company. And it was just a lot of stuff that was going through my mind because I was like, damn, I'm at this job all day. I got no time to spend with my family. I don't have no time to produce music. I don't got no time to do nothing. It's like I'm just there at the job. And again, I didn't hate the job. I love the job. But I found myself there every day and I was not able to do my YouTube videos. I was not unable to do content, all the popular stories. I was missing all the stories. it was just very frustrating because I want time. And I told myself, you know what? Perhaps in the next the next 2 years, I might end up leaving the job. You know what I mean? And, I was telling my partners I was going to leave the job. I was going to do this. I was going to do that. And guess what happened? The pandemic took place. The pandemic took place, and basically I was let go because I did not want to take that shot. I didn't want to take the shot, and the company said, well, we got to let you go. That was God. That was God pushing me out the company, basically saying, I'm choosing. And that was it. I was thrust out of the job, and all I had was social media. And it pushed me to get on the grind. It pushed me to move and do something about it. Do you understand me? So life will hit you in a different way. You cannot wait until a perfect day. You cannot wait until life is doing everything you want it to do before you decide to reach your goals. You're going to have to quit that job and jump out into the fire and see what's out there. People that are successful don't just get success overnight. There got to be a sacrifice. And when that job let me go, I was on my own and all I had was YouTube. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Let's just get it on and popping. We're going to go out there and grind. And I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. From the pandemic till now, I'm still here, bro. By the grace of God. And that doesn't mean I'm a millionaire. I go through the struggles. I got a lot of things that I got to do. I got bills to pay. I got a family to provide for, and it could be hectic. But I'm still here. I got the freedom to get up, be with my family. I got the freedom to decide what I want to do. It ain't perfect. At the same time, I got the freedom that I always needed in order for me to focus. So at the end of the day, even if the brother go full throttle on social media, it's going to require work. Because if you're going to put 8 hours in at a 9 to 5, bro, you better put 8 hours into your content. Not 1 hour, not one video. No, you need to work as if you were on a 9 to 5 and put in the pain. That is how you're going to blow up on social media. Let's go.
Speak to you and it will tell you exactly what you're supposed to do. But if you just saying that it's bad to get a job just because you're on social media, then I think that you've completely lost your mind.
No, the issue is not that it's bad to get a job because you're on social media. Nobody says that, guys. I don't know why he's saying these things. He's saying these things like people are out here saying it's bad to leave social media and go get a job. Nobody's saying that. Nobody makes videos about that. The whole point is, if you are a content creator and you are forced to go back to the 9 to 5 job, then guess what? That's for you. That's because you haven't figured out exactly what you need to do. How could you have 90,000 subscribers and you're forced to go back to the 9 to 5? Because why? The people that was making the channel successful left, which means you're not that dude. That's all you got to understand. You're not the guy. You're not the one with the talent. Sometimes the person with the talent left the show. You understand? And I think that the individual doing a reaction should have at least encouraged the brother with some sort of information that could get him on track, even if he had to work for 6 months to a year. But the goal is to get back on social media and grind, grind on the weekend, on your days off, after work, grind, figure out the plan. Because again, if your partners left the show, then the show falls apart. Just that simple. It's just that simple, guys. So we're not here to discourage people from having a job. I think anybody that have a job, that's a great thing, but know your value, know your worth. I have a lot of truckers that watch my platform. If you're a trucker, that's your job. You're not an influencer. Your job is a trucker. If you work for FedEx, UPS, United States Parcel Service, that's your job. Do you understand that? You're not an influencer. So you got to know what you are here to do and just do your job. The problem is a lot of people keep coming to social media trying to have the social media life, but they're not content creators. And when they finally realize the work they have to do and the work ethic they must have in order to keep going, they burn out and they lose hope because they're looking for somebody to save them. It wasn't meant for you. It's just that simple. Let's go.
Remember, it's never bad to work. It's never bad to hustle. It's never bad to get to it. And I also think that a lot of people be ashamed of people seeing them working a regular job just because they are on social media.
No.
Let me know what you think inside of the comments. Make sure.
Listen, that's the end of his video. It's not about being ashamed if somebody see you working at a 9 to 5. That's not the issue. Because when I was on a 9 to 5, my coworkers knew I was on YouTube at the same time. And I would always tell them one day I'm going to be doing YouTube full time. And they probably thought I was crazy, But at the end of the day, you have to decide that this is for you. You got to work, guys. If you treat your YouTube career like you do your 9 to 5, you will grow and you will be successful. The problem with most YouTubers, they come on YouTube, they do one video, and then that's it. How you expect to survive off that one video? No, you got to grind. You got to work. You got to put in the pain. You got to have long hours. You got to sit there and keep putting out content, keep working, and keep going and keep putting out more and keep on doing it. And don't be in competition with nobody. Stop comparing yourself to other people and just grind. That's how you grow. You grind and you focus on you, and you don't focus on money. You focus on the love of doing the content. Because if you're focusing on money all day, you'll be discouraged. So that being said, guys, I'm going to get up on out of here. Make sure you hype the video, rate, comment, and subscribe. Click the notification bell for more content, guys. And I'll catch you all in the next stream. Leave comments under the videos, guys. After the premiere finish, leave those comments and let us know what you think. We're not here to discourage anybody from having a 9 to 5. We're not encouraging anybody to pretty much think that, if you have a job, something's wrong with you. What we're focused on here is the context of being a content creator. If that is your goal, you need to pursue your goal with all your heart, all your might, all your soul. Don't let nobody deter you from doing that. Don't let nobody tell you, you need to go get a job. You need to go get a real job. Those people do not want to see you grow. They don't want to see you successful. If people believed in you and people want to see you successful, they would be supporting you. They would financially support you. They'll be like, bro, we need you on social media. Bro, we need you to be successful here. We're going to support you. We're going to enable you. That is how you become successful. When the people believe in you, the people trust you, and they desire to see you successful, they will literally build you up so you can grow. So that being said, guys, we're going to get up on out of here. Ringo TV Reactions salute you. You all have a blessed day. Shout out to all my truckers, everybody on the 9 to 5 grind, everybody that's about their business. If you have a goal and you're still working on a 9 to 5, pursue your goal. Pursue it till the wheels fall off. And don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. Don't let nobody tell you you got to keep working at this job for the rest of your life. No, a lot of times people will tell you that because they don't want to see you go. They want to see you in the same place with them this time next year. No, Go out there and pursue your job in terms of get your goals, your ambitions, and everything you've been working for your whole life. Don't let your life pass you by and you ain't pursuing your goals. I'm out of here, gang. Y'all take care. Peace.